Well, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting for October 28th, 2024. I'm Commissioner Nick Scull. To my left is Commissioner Anthony Benvenuti. To my right is Commissioner Ben Olszewski. I'm getting there, aren't I?
Yeah, close enough.
Our Township Manager, Pat Stasio, our Parks and Recreation Director, Katie Kohler, and our Legal Representative, Brianna Ryan. Are there any presentations or announcements?
There are none this evening.
Okay. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? No. Are there any comments on the minutes from September 23rd? No? Oh, yes.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kathy Gilmore, Upper Moreland Free Public Library Director here. I do just have a slight correction to the minutes from last month under the library report. More information about the openings on the library board can be found at www.uppermorelandlibrary.org/board rather than /employment.
Well, that's important. Yeah, it's a board position, it's not a job. All right, then we'll move ahead to the Parks and Recreation report. Mrs. Kohler.
Thank you, Commissioner. Some highlights for our September monthly report. The Masons Mill paving project is finally done, thanks to the Public Works Department working hard out there. It took about 2 weeks, I want to say, total to complete that project. We had a truck go down during it, so there were some more trips that had to go to pick up the paving, but they worked hard. It looks great. It is actually completed and painted as of last week. I also just want to highlight that our Upper Moreland maintenance team worked with the Environmental Advisory Council to install what's called feather-friendly window vinyl at the library windows. Lynette met our team out there and trained them on how to apply this window vinyl, which was created to be transparent, but it's white dots where birds will not fly into the windows. They'll see these dots that are applied to the windows and hopefully fly over the building. So it took 2 of our staff members 2 days to complete that project, but we were happy to help there. Looking at our special events, fall is a busy time for our department and our special events. We had the Fall Frolic Tween Dance on September 20th. We filled that event with 75 youngsters. We employed 8 high school Key Club members to help at that event, as well as our staff and 2 Parks and Rec Advisory Council volunteers. It's a 2-hour event at the firehouse. We provide light refreshments and entertainment for these kids during that event. Also, this past weekend, we held our annual Pumpkins on Parade event at Masons Mill Park. Terrific turnout this year. We had close to 300. We planned for 300. I'm going to say we had about 285 kids and their families, and they bring grandparents and siblings and parents and aunts and uncles. So in total, we estimate between 1,000 and 1,200 people walked through that event.
A lot of people pay at the door.
We had 165 pre-register and about 115 walk-ups. Yeah, so it's always weather dependent. And yeah, those walk-ups wait to see what it's going to be like that day and come on up. Our entire Parks and Rec department was represented there, as well as volunteers from the Kiwanis who decorated Safety Town for the Spooky Safety Town trick-or-treat part of that event. We had I want to say maybe 30 to 40 Key Club members come out and volunteer their time to work at the different stations. The Upper Moreland Police Department volunteered to do a trunk or treat portion, and the Upper Moreland Fire Department also had a display there. So thank you to them. The Upper Moreland Free Public Library also provides the Storytelling Witch, and they had a huge crowd this year, I want to say, down at that gazebo. Also, a special thanks to the Upper Moreland Parks and Rec Advisory Council, who all pull the weight there for the Pumpkins on Parade event. So kudos to everybody who organized it, and it was a wonderful, successful event. I just want to also bring to your attention the pictures that are in the report. It shows the Key Club members that volunteered at our event and our guys installing the feather friendly at the library. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the monthly report.
I just wanted to thank Parks and Rec again for the event at Fair Oaks about the basin. I think that was definitely informative for all the neighbors, and it was pretty well attended too. Only thing is the penstemon I planted in my yard from there, an animal stole it. So I'm a little disappointed about that. So I might need a new one.
We'll have to get you another one. That event, I think we said 30 to 35 people attended, and that was an educational event that we wanted to bring to the residents' attention on what good the basin does for the community. So thank you for organizing that and bringing that to our attention as well, Commissioner.
Thank you, and the staff.
And I would like to say I was at the Farmstead Park event last night, and I know Parks and Rec people did a lot of prep and help with getting it set up, and it went well, I think. And also the participation of the police and the fire department. So anyway, it was a great event.
So that was the Historical Haunts, correct? And that was the Upper Moreland Historical Society that commission?
Association.
Thank you. And our
There's a difference.
our department set up the event, helped with supporting the setup and breakdown of that event. So it was good.
Let me correct myself. It was the Historical Commission, which is a township commission that sponsored the event. But they had the assistance of the Upper Moreland Historical Association in terms of information.
Great.
And of course, the Farmstead Park group also. All right. Well, I think our next report is the library report.
Hello, Commissioners.
Hello.
My name is Megan Friedman. I live in Ward 11, and I have been on the Board of Trustees for almost 2 years now. And I'm just going to give you a little information that's been going on at the library. The October flyer was included in your packet, and you should have already received the November flyer earlier this month. Thank you for sharing this information with the households of Upper Moreland via your email list and on social media. The Friends of the Library are holding their annual meeting on Tuesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. This event is open to the public, and it will include a brief business meeting followed by refreshments and antique appraisal event with Michael Locati of Locati Auction House. Current members of the Friends or new members who join at the event are encouraged to bring an object for a chance to receive a professional appraisal. We hope the community will join the Friends to learn more about their family heirlooms and the many ways the Friends support the library. The Friends are also holding their 11th annual jewelry sale at the library on Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Buyers will find a range of vintage and costume jewelry, as well as men's and ladies' accessories. It's a great opportunity to find a unique item for the gift-giving season. Donations of gently used jewelry are still being accepted at the library's front desk and can be dropped off at any time the library is open. The library board seat is still accepting applicants for open seats starting in January 2025 for a 3-year term. Interviews are expected to take place in December, and information on how to apply can be found on the library's website at umfpl.org/board-applications. I also wanted to share something that many of the library users might not know. When you get a receipt for borrowing items from the library, or you can also check your library account online, you can see how much money you've saved by borrowing instead of purchasing. In 2023, library users saved more than $2.2 million by borrowing library materials at Upper Moreland Library. So far this year, through the end of August, library users have already saved over $1.6 million, more than a $100,000 increase over the same period last year. Using your library is one of the easiest ways to stretch your budget. I'd also like to include that that amount there does not include any of the electronic books, so any ebooks through Overdrive, Libby, or Hoopla is not included in that price. So if you do use electronic books, you'd even save more. Any questions?
I have none. Anyone else?
No? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, and now we'll look at old business. I don't think there's any old business. New business, I would like to ask Ms. Kohler if she would give us a report on Woodlawn Park. Some of the residents of Ward 1 have been asking me about what's happening and what the plans are.
Sure. If you recall, in July, the Board of Commissioners awarded the proposal to Simone Collins and Gilmore to cover the engineering costs of the park. In August, we met and did a site walkthrough with these organizations to discuss some updates that since the master plan was finalized, there were some other updates we wanted to include in a new plan. So Pat, Township Manager, and I walked with these companies to talk about these additions. In September, Simone and Collins redesigned the park, and they submitted it to us for review. Additionally, Gilmore did some historical marker research and presented their findings to us. We also actually went out and found the marker, which was buried. So we will make sure that that is bright and we can find it for years to come. So we're hoping that in November to finalize the design. Then in late winter, we're going to hopefully go out to bid for the project and mid-spring-ish award the project. And if all goes well, and it's based on construction costs and materials and all, we're hoping to begin construction of the new park in the summer of 2024. I'd like to ask if, in 2025, yes, thank you. I'd like to ask Pat if he has any additional information. He's more familiar with this project.
No, I think Kate's been working well with the design team. They had some questions today of her and she responded. The only outstanding balance would be to the complete funding of phase 1. So we did receive a grant for $1.25 million from Land and Water Conservation Fund. We received a grant of $225,000 from Montgomery County. We have some money set aside for this project from a previous bond issue. And in the next bond issue, we have some money dedicated for this project whenever the board decides, if the board decides to go out to the next bond. So there's about $1 million that's allocated in the next bond should the board desire to move forward.
So how much does the design and phase 1 come to altogether?
The project's about a $3.7 million project total. And we've identified where those funds are going to come from, except that last $1 million, which is right now earmarked in the next bond issue, if there is one.
That's phase one alone.
And Kate, excuse me if if stepping forward here. It's phase one. Phase two would be a community center, which I think has been decided that might not be the appropriate location. Phase 1B might be some improvements along Division Avenue. That is not proposed in this phase.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Are there any other items, any other new business? Any commissioner comments? Well, good night. We're adjourned.